Okay, so like the minimum preemption right now, as for like Chloe right now, showing up like Dawn still that they will see her as shown for like ultimate challenge battle against Leon. Like the minimum preemption that they have still minimum preemption that like even though currently I'm bring like scenario to be like currently as thinking that okay, so like it's just Chloe as well as Dawn that has like basically sort of to like cheer as on. But like I'm bring like the scenario to be like whereas to be going to basically want like actually stepping into like the battlefield to like face off against Leon uh, I'm just going to do only at that point that I'm just going like I should be getting that and switch off and surprise. It's like I'm just going like at that point from like the gallery, I'm just like the people that would be like actually using all sorts of familiar faces that would be cheering at all from like the gallery at that point, and that those people are also definitely would be like all the way back from like Rock and Misty to like I'm just going like even Tracy and Professor Rock as well as like Serena and like all the previous travel partners. So like act like I'm bring like all of them being assembled on like the gallery. Uh, and like the audience to like solely just to like cheer Ash on for like Ash is like ultimate championship battle against like and he was like doing the scenario that I'm looking and that different like would be such an absolute surprise for Ash like scenario that I'm looking. So like I'm speaking about the relation for like Ash only fighting out about like all of them like showing up to clear at on only at that point of like in the scenario that about to bring him up to reimbursement. Yes, so like also like Leon to reimbursement right now as for like before like Leon's back again as like right now like Leon the feeling time span like Leon reminded of like the way first battle in his life like I'm like so like if you want to get totally believing that like Leon was like great undefeated champion that like Leon is like the ultimate champion was never lost a single Pokemon battle in his life. Like I'm like accuracy of like the situation would be most likely that like that very first battles that Leon had like tracking Leon was like a giant. And then brings that girl against whom like Leon had battles with that very first battle. But the thing will be definitely Sonia, certainly one of the friends. So like I'm pretty like and but the like in that very first battle, like to think about the friends that like Leon might have lost against like Sonia. It's definitely one of the friends. About which like the fact that like Leon is not this like undefeated champion, this black person who has never lost a single Pokemon battle in his life. Like Leon has actually lost a Pokemon battle in his life. Like the secret would be something sad, like Sonia as well as like Leon alone will be knows about the Stephanie when the like they know it, then both might have decided to like keep it the secret from like the social and stuff. They also might take references. So definitely, and I'm like the friendship between like Leon as well as Sonia might have even been formed after that waiting for Leon battle between like Leon and Sonia. So also like Leon was racing. Just like after Leon might have lost his like Sonia, like Leon might have completely then tried might have been what might have happened with Leon was cancelled. So like back then like Sonia might have comforted Leon and might have helped train uh, help train Leon to get stronger might have been what might have happened. And once like Leon got stronger, all the help of like Sonia's training, like under the then Leon and like Charmander might have had a rebattle against like Sonia, and in that rebattle, like under the like Leon might have defeated Sonia, might have been what might have happened. It's definitely remember case. And since then, like Leon's like undefeated streak in his life, Leon might have been able to like maintain it even to the present day. It's definitely remember so the player right now, and for like Leon right before his like current battle against like championship battle against like actually like Leon right now, even being reminded of that his like very first battle in which I'm simply remember prediction that Leon might have lost to like Sony and then basically Leon feeling that tense right now and being even reminded of that will be most likely due to like Leon deep down uh since like the very first time like Leon might have met as like available like something about as might have deep down reminded Leon of like Sonia. That very Sonia that Leon had faced off against like those his like childhood like and would like something about like that the aura of like Sonia might have only uh, might be present in like as which like Leon might have felt like Leon was things and this might be the precise reason for like I'm looking like right now as like Leon is like basically about to have like final again championship battle against like apps like I'm looking like Leon will be deep down if you have for Leon feeling then would be due to that fears that right now might be that surfing up from within that Leon the of like the possibility. of that basically that is repeating itself and exactly like how Leon had without totally lost his at the great of battle against like Sonya like since like Ash might be reminding Leon so much of that Sonya from back then like the positive like Leon in the like ultimate championship battle in front of the entire audience like basically losing to like that. And that way it's repeating itself that way that the ultimate image that Leon has built up and might have only lies in like towards like the rest of the world that he is just like undefeated champion while covering up the possible truth that like Leon might have lost his like very first battle in his life. Like basically all that image like the possibility of like even though the lies like Amazon like Leon might have uh, and Leon like the possibility of like basically this like undefeated champion image that Leon was able to like maintain for this long time, even to the person like basically all that getting first so as the person capacity fitting Leon would be like that atmosphere within like Leon, which will be right now causing Leon to be like to feel tense right now, the Leon right now. Also, the film of Korean versions are like in like the symbiosis might have been like the very first person that might have even called Leon like the given Leon like the title of like the undefeated champion would be most likely Sonia herself. It's definitely one of them. Because like after like Leon and Sonia might have become good friends like even from like the childhood like and like after even though Leon might have something about the much Leon might have lost his like very first battle against like Sonia. But like I'm going like in the second battle that Leon might have had against like Sonia, Leon might have won. And like the consecutive battles that Leon might have had since then, like I'm like Sonia might have been watching all those battles of Leon and like the Sonia might have gotten so exceptionally impressed with like the good hero that in that strategy and like the skills and like Leon's way of battling that hero that Leon might have only displayed in each and every single one of his like battles since then like basically that might have really impressed Sonia so much to like the point that I'm looking like it might have been Sonia herself that might have started calling Leon like undefeated champion, like undefeated future champion or something along the lines. And that way, like I'm looking like the title of like the undefeated Pokemon trainer might have fallen for like Leon might have been what might have happened, especially my best friend. So like I'm looking due to like the absolute great on friendship like it might have been it might have also deep down might have been extremely a high priority for like an important and something of like extreme importance deep down for like Sonia for like as well Sonia maybe even more than Leon to have like the rest of like, the world only see Leon as like this undefeated champion and never find out like the possible truth about like Leon's loss and defeat in his like terrible Pokemon battle. Uh, uh, this definitely a possibility that about different and necessary. So like the feeling of the Korean person right now is that like even though as and Sonia are friends, like I'm definitely like the bond that bond of that absolute bond of friendship that Sonia would be having towards like Leon like might have began all the way from their childhood like I'm like that bond of friendship between Sonia and Leon would be that far too stronger that I'm definitely putting like in the whole match versus like Leon battle I'm think like Sonia would be definitely strongly cheering for Leon to win against Ash. So that we might agree on this. Okay, so like the flavor of the Korean system right now like has stepped into like the battlefield like basically like the announcer basically calling as like the first champion of that Salola region by like the Pokemon World Championship news radar has called Ash like the key trainer in like the Master Raid. Like definitely I'm looking it would be either upsetting to my good preference that like it would be that contradiction would be most likely due to like either unlike like the current announcer of like the championship battle between the Ant and Leon. Like while he might be totally knowledgeable about when it comes to like act like I'm saying like the reporter of like the Pokemon World Championship news rate from this information either might be like totally might have not thoroughly at all might have not at all studied about like the achievements of Ash at all and might have got it wrong and might have called as like the rookie trainer in Master Fate while Ash is already like the champion of like the Alola region. And that the like the very first champion of like the Alola region is definitely one possibility that I'm looking for like the other possibility that I'm looking for like the Pokemon World Championship Year Trainer. Even while he might have known that basically Ash is like the champion of like the Alola region, like he might not only like totally lied and might have said that like Ash is like the only rookie trainer of like the Master League, just so that like he could get like the audience viewer attention and like he could like increase like the rating of like the viewership of like the online watching or like streaming of like the Pokemon World Championship uh, worldwide was definitely my personal ambition. So like it might be one of these two possibilities if like the for like why like the Pokemon World Championship is might have hotly thought as like a rookie trainer of like the Masters is just like the possibility that I'm just developing and it's going to reimbursement right now. Okay, so like definitely my reimbursement right now is for like Chloe right now being confused that for like a huge number of like the audience like is cheering for characters like as the feeling to like the light point like I was putting like the scenario to be like once Leon would be entering it like the battlefield like at that point like Chloe getting an even bigger shock but like like at that point like the cheer from like the crowds of the center stage was a lot more loud, extremely a lot more loud and with like way more passion. Like I'm looking like the entire the crowd will be cheering for like Leon. Once Leon will be entering into like the stage into like the magic period of the believers of the Revolution. So like at that point, like I'm looking like Chloe would be like realizing that extreme gap in like how much like the crowd totally loves Leon versus how much they love as like the battle begins as and Leon like about the beginners like clinical scenario that I'm just about to bring about today. Okay, so like the setting the mind of the system right now, like basically right now, like Ash going up to like the stage to like battle against Leon, where Rangers like ring and like fans of like the dynamic team as well as like the Mega Edition. That we have setting the mind of the system that like definitely Ash should be like using his like dynamic gimmick as for like Ash's in like Ash battle against Leon. Definitely by the mission that is fitting again. Ash would be only using that on his like Pikachu itself. It's like, and it had to be only using his like Dynamax gimmick. Once like both Ash and Leon would be like down to their last Pokemon, and which would be definitely which I'm going to bring up that point like the scenario would be like it would be Charizard. That would be like 24 Pokemon remaining finally eventually for like Leon, and that it would be Pikachu alone that would be remaining for Ash, and then because of like it would be at that point like the Ash would be like Dynamax Pikachu while I'm most likely Leon at that point will be already having his like job starting with like in his like dynamic form also like that I'm looking very definitely and my positive impressions and like definitely that and this would be like something that Ant might have already fixed in his mind to like basically to use like the latest gimmick of like Dynamax in his like final championship battle because like I'm looking as as has even reached his like master state like I'm looking at that point Celtic might have like only had that confidence that he will be definitely making it to like the finals and facing off against like Leon. So like I'm looking like even back then like Ash might have decided that basically that he would use like the Z uh Z-move like gimmick as like in his like as like the gimmick if he would be using in his like first battle in like the Master Raid and like the second battle in like the Master Raid he would be using that the mega evidential gimmick and that might be like something that Ash might have decided consciously due to like Sundia's ace Pokemon being a mega captain. So like Ash back then even back then might have like might have been expecting and hoping for like Sundia to like mega evolve of like Sharpton. And so that like Ash might have been from like the start of the Master Stage might have been only looking forward to like fighting like Sundia's like ace mega captain the stand of like mega Lucario to like defeat like the mega Garchomp with like the mega Lucario. Might have been something that Ash might have so badly wanted. It's definitely one of the things. And that way for like Ash to like use like activities like in the case of like Leon like ace Pokemon is just like Charizard as not just its Charizard but with like Gigantamax Charizard. So like to fight off against like the Gigantamax Charizard and bring down that ace ultimate like Gigantamax Charizard Pokemon of like Leon with Ash's like ace Pikachu like by Dynamax by countering like the Gigantamax Charizard of like Leon with like Dynamax Pikachu and to like defeat the Jaganamax chapter of like Leon. And that way to like these three might be something that Ash might have already planned even from like the very beginning, as like as had even made it to like the Masters state and like the tournament, like battle matchup, were already revealed. This definitely might be pretty aggressive. So this might have been what might have happened with me when the pro. So like I'm just like even though right now with like Ash like bringing all three of its like gimmicks of like three moves like evolution and Dynamax two like wearing all the three gimmicks as you feel like right now entering into like space to like fight out against like Leon. I'm looking like I'm looking like the scenario to be like it far too obvious for even Leon as well that like Ash would be like definitely Leon will be getting that strong feeling and not even that much of like doubt at all as for like which gimmick that Ash will be using in this like battle against Leon. It's also like the scenario that I'm looking. Leon will be having that strong feeling that Ash will definitely be using his like dynamite gimmick and I took that against like Leon. And I'm also bring like that way like Leon for playing such a scenario and basically being well prepared for like such a scenario. But it's also like an inventive scenario that I'm yet like I'm also bring like it might be due to like that for tension that like currently Leon Foxing like getting like the best of Leon, but I'm going to bring like by the time like Leon would be that and I'm going to bring that tension within like Leon, which like might be like a tension that like Leon might have never faced after like Leon's like initial loss, which might have happened against like Sonia in like Leon's very first battle. Like I'm wondering like it might be only during that battle that Leon might have felt this tension in his life. And after like visiting Sonia, like Leon might have never felt this tension in his life until like the very present where like as might have reminded Leon so much of like Sonia from back then is certainly never there. So like I'm wondering since back then like I'm wondering it might be only right now we like the person that's like Leon is like about face up against us but Leon might have even felt that tension when it comes to like Pokemon battle in his life. It's certainly never there. And I'm wondering that tension causing affecting like Leon's performance is like definitely the into scenario that I'm just sticking on to. And so like that way that tension affecting Leon's performance to the point that like it's eventually when the like Leon would be only overcoming that tension. Like I'm just saying still by then like Leon would have lost a lot of Pokemon that like I'm just like uh and a lot of setbacks in his like performance in like the Pokemon battle against like had that by the time Leon would be overcoming the tension like it would be too late and that was is what I'm personally talking about thing would be about eventually giving that upper hand to Ash for for us to be able to like make for and officially on like in the scenario that I'm going to and my brother and brother. Either that or like I'm going to link down the possibility being like a Pikachu getting that extra special some sort of like a unique power exactly like how Pikachu back in like Ash's like Master Base battle against like Steven. Like Ash's Pikachu alone had like the remove that like the opponent Steven's like Metagross couldn't dodge like the like Ash's Pikachu remove alone being like extra special that it changes after like the Metagross Mega Metagross even after it dodged that Pikachu like remove attacks. So like I'm afraid like maybe that as well being like the other possibility for which like as my secretly on where like as like time much Pikachu having displaying some sort of like an extra special power that will be totally unique to like as a Pikachu alone. It's like the other possibility that I'm going to bring through which like as my technically be honest like the other possibility that I'm going to bring in one very question right now. Also, the claim of the mentions that even while that already like Leon's like six member Pokemon team had already been revealed as like having like two fast type Pokemon with like Leon's like Charizard as well as Pokemon like I'm still like I'm currently with the whole tension situation going on for like Leon and the that resulting in like Leon feeling desperate to like the point of like deciding to like replace like Leon's like second fire type Pokemon for Bunny with like Ethernet is just like the scenario that I'm looking for. So like I'm sticking to my mention that like because I'm looking like Leon I think like the tension that Leon is like feeling right now. Like I'm looking Leon feeling absolutely afraid to like the point of like the of like to solely to like keep his like undefeated victory like keep going like I'm looking like uh, Leon like being the straight like the point of like deciding to like do like a legendary Pokemon as like Eternus and that way to gain that extreme unfair advantage in just like fight against Ash that way so that like Leon could like ensure like his victory against Ash. It's like the eventual possible scenario that I'm in that way like I'm like even though Ash totally would be expecting that would be like neither Ash nor like the entirety of the audience like none of them won't be like even expecting or would be even seeing like the possibility of like Leon bringing out like a legendary Pokemon like Eternatus like typical scenario that I'm looking. So like I'm looking like the very first Pokemon that like Leon won't be sending out would be just like Ethernet is like the scenario that I'm going to bring and sending out them. That would be the biggest shock for like the industry since the audience, including us as well. So like my program that is sitting on and I'm going to bring like Ethernet is definitely I'm going to bring like will be taking out like the first three Pokemon of Ash before like I'm going to bring like once again like Ethernet is totally losing control and I'm going to bring the fourth Pokemon of Ash, which I'm going to bring would be most likely Lucario would be that take advantage of like the like loss of control situation of like internet to like totally initially like or foreign indicators and bring down like the onset of matter like the simple scenario that I'm also referring and okay, so like the Lehman is represented right now with Black Leon right now interfering with the role for technology Pokemon World Championship and like telling us to like use all three of his like Pokemon battle games like definitely because of this we all due to like Leon feeling clumsy and like insecure and nervous and tense deep down inside Leon difference that like Leon would be like making all sorts of like uh, clumsy mistakes and like losing clarity in like the things Leon would be saying and doing right now. So that absolute tension would be what would be right now happening with like Leon was definitely member that like Leon as like would be like totally having that absolute image of like him, like being this like undefeated champion and all that, like totally getting to him that messing with his like tension as well would be only causing Leon to like feel so full of himself as like basically as a black and totally causing Leon to like lose track of like the reality of like the situation and to Leon failing to like see the place like as to like where he stands like as to, like basically he's just the reality of like the situation that he's just a trainer just like any other trainer in like the Pokemon World Championship who absolutely has like absolutely no right to like change like the rules of like an official Pokemon World Championship tournament. It's definitely my preference. So like Leon would be right now only due to his like tension and it would be like feeling clumsy and like would be making all the mistakes and might be failing to like see that and might be like the reason for like Leon trying to like correct even like the official referee who's like who's like deciding and declaring like the role official roles of like the official Pokemon World Championship that way like I'm considering definitely right now for like the referee right now talking back to like Leon and telling Leon that basically if that Leon first of all that like Leon have to know his place that basically he is just a Pokemon trainer just like any other Pokemon trainer competing in like the Pokemon World Championship where have that way have no right to like change like the official rules of the Pokemon World Championship is what I'm considering the referee right now telling back to like Leon. And on top of that, like referee, I'm also telling Leon that basically even if he allows like Leon quit and allows Ash to like use all three of his like battle games, then that would be such an unfair advantage to like to their battle when compared to like all not only all the other trainers who participated in like the Master Series, but all the other trainers who like participated in like the Pokemon World Championship, like since them all in each of their battles were only allowed to like use a single one of like the single one of like their battle game is like really like conveniently allowing like all of them allowing like Leon or and as or like even if it's just as alone to like use all three of the game, it would be totally an unfair thing to that all the other unfair and disrespectful thing to do to like all the other trainers who had basically participated on equal terms in like the in a fair manner in like the master seat, not the master seat, but like in like the Pokemon Championship, it would be along the lines of the different like the referee right now telling Leon. And I was like at that point Leon getting this like ego hurt and Leon totally at that point realizing his like actual true place and basically at that point, like the referee once again declaring like his decision that basically exactly like all the other battles in like so far in like the Pokemon World Championship, like basically the whole will remain the same. With like both Ash and Leon being allowed to only use like a single one of like their gimmick. It's like given the scenario that I'm looking and that totally being like an extremely embarrassing moment for like Leon and basically like Leon getting to like ego seriously and basically those are like right off the bat itself it's like the scenario that I'm going to bring in the membership. Okay, so like the Cleveland is 3% right now as for like even though Leon wasn't suggesting still like the championship management team like accepting like with Leon's like position like I'm just bring like at least this as well like basically Leon wanting like as to like take all three of his teams as well would be like but the bring might be like Leon's attempt to like cover up like the obviousness of like the uh unfair unfairness of like Leon's battle against as once like Leon will be bringing out his like Eternate like a legendary powerful Pokemon like Eternate in his battle against and for like to like not make it feel that extremely unfair to like the audience to cover that up might be like the reason for like Leon right now wanting Ash to like use all three of like Ash's like gimmick of like Zemo Mega Evolution as well as like Dynamite so that like I'm looking like for like the audience like so that like Leon might that way like Leon might be hoping to like that way be able to like trick like the audience into like thinking that basically that the battle even while Leon will be using his like a like that like the battle is definitely a fair battle. It's definitely my personal impression as for like the possibility that I'm looking for. So and I'm also putting like in the case of like let the sample super like Leon definitely would be like even while Leon and Leon's plan would be to like definitely not like Eternam would be to like definitely not to not Eternam like Leon's like Eternam but like to instead of that to like totally give like the gigantic gimmick to like Leon's chapter like definitely one of the rooms. So that way that would definitely be like a Leon's plan. So like that way that might be like Leon's attempt to like totally balance it out and basically Leon will be totally hoping that basically Ash would be most likely definitely against like Leon's alternatives like Ash would be most likely using like one of the like among the three gimmicks like Ash would be using like either one or two of like among like the three gimmicks of this like Pokemon. It would take Ash like using like one or two of the gimmicks of like Pokemon to even be able to like deliver it out like Leon Eternal without any gimmick. The along the line Leon would be totally confidently or how confidently would be feeling is definitely going to change. But like that way to that make it appear in appearance scene to like the audience as if like Leon is like fighting fair by fighting against as like legendary or god like Eternal might be Leon's plan. It's definitely my preference. Okay, so like Leon with Renton right now with like even with like Leon having brought out this like Scorpion and this like comfort on to fight up against like acid so like but it's still my preference that I'm still going to especially that like so right now I'm going to try definitely like on top of Scorpion like Leon I'm definitely putting also using it like a scope one chance but still my preference is that like from like Leon's like orderly review like 6 member team there would still be one Pokemon that was the Dynamatic and with like Leon should be totally replace it with his like Eternatus. And that would be like the biggest talking of like a surprise for like action legend and like the crowd of like the scenario that I'm doing. So like I'm pretty maybe definitely that's like the scenario that I'm doing. And that Pokemon that would be getting replaced like I'm going to bring from like Leon like reporter their revenge number team right now I'm going to bring one the Charizard is up. That's definitely my 3 obviously like the because the promotion right now as for like as if like what Pokemon that in terms of the lack of efficacy like I'm looking still my promotions are like the first as well as like the last Pokemon in that as with like since was with bad like against Leon like that last battle that will be finishing like the battle between like Ash and Leon post that uh enabling Ash to like seize the victory over Leon is like the scenario that I'm looking and that Pokemon aspect will definitely be it is the my promotion that I'm sitting on so definitely even right now like as sending out is like videos of like transport but I was like definitely against like Scorpion able to between like Pikachu not being able to like defeat Scorpion and Ambassador Pikachu like totally attempt to like defeat definitely able to bring like as attempt to like defeat Scorpion with like Pikachu totally like barring and able to bring like Scorpion like to see the extent of like damage to that Pikachu and Ambassador at that point and totally falling back and switching out to like Pikachu with like the scenario that I'm looking for. So then like I'm looking like the next time after like uh falling back is like Pikachu like the very next time to be setting out to get like maybe like when as uh in like the final zone scenario where like Ash and Leon would be let down to their final last photo. So only at that point after that Ash's like initial attempt to deal damage with like Pikachu will be that sorry like after that like I'm hoping the next time I should be setting out Pikachu something like that against Leon would be once like Ash and Leon will get down to their last Pokemon like the scenario that I'm looking at the impression right now. It's sort of the impression that like the fact that like Ash's current travel partner so has like the money like basically would be like helping as and like to out a lot in health in like as like current battle of like Ash Pikachu against like Leon's money. In that battle like I'm something that only like the fact that like I have witnessed like those like softening in battle a lot of times so throughout like as a journey like that the thing we did not take anything as out in like delivering a way better performance like has to stick it against like neon softening it's like it is a scenario that I'm delivering but still I'm delivering like since it's like not close softening but since we have it's like in neon softening for instance the company, even though like initially would be like probably starting to like take a certain extent of damage from like as it was still connection like Leon's company, like Leon and Leon's company totally usually turning things around and like and shockingly witnessing like Leon's company fight in such exceptional manners that like as might have never even witnessed like both company even fight against fight in it's definitely my friend. So that way, like I'm just mechanically Leon's probably like whole significant damage to like as a Pikachu, and at that point, actively falling back his like Pikachu before like Leon's probably will be like about to like suddenly defeat like as Pikachu. And that very last second, I'm just like as totally saving just like Pikachu by using the Pokeball and falling back as like defeat like the in terms of narrative that is sitting on the okay, so like the name of the preemption right now, as for like Ashton right now sending out his Gengar and they Leon right now sending out his like Inteleon. The name of the preemption right now, as for like the fight between them, like another like Ash right now only surpassing like Inteleon expectations, including and like Leon's suspect, like the scenario that I'm moving and them definitely putting like the eventual scenario to be like Ash's Gengar defeating Leon's Inteleon is like the scenario that I'm moving and but like the fact that basically Gengar is like an exceptionally fast Pokemon that it's not only fast while that can also fight exceptionally fast aerial battle as well. That number one definitely would be one factor that would be totally strong advantages for like Ash and like Gengar when compared to Inteleon, even while Leon's Inteleon is like exceptionally fast like Amazon like and even though Inteleon can in fact like fly to like a certain extent but still, like when it comes to like aerial battle, like I'm like Inteleon won't be nowhere near as fast as like Gengar is definitely with temperature. So just I'm like just coupled with like I'm like the fact that like Go has like in Go as well has like an Inteleon and the fact that like has been traveling with like both so far and have been up close like Inteleon goes Inteleon in like battle and both like definitely I'm that would definitely factor in to giving us like that exceptional advantage even though it's like Leon's like Inteleon and not both Inteleons, there is members of something like definitely just coupling these two things like another thing definitely would be eventually giving at like the advantage and upper hand, which would be resulting in like at totally using the skin guard totally eventually totally or foreign and defeating like Leon's Inteleon. It's like the scenario that I was saying. Even though I'm sort of like as a skin guard definitely taking like a certain extent of like feats damage from like the attacks of like Leon Leon still able to bring like Ashes Gengar will be only or and defeated Leon Leon like the scenario that I'm and I'm definitely protecting that even once like Ashes Gengar will be starting to like eventually totally or like Leon Leon like I'm saying even at that point like Leon won't be like falling back like into Leon like scenario that I'm saying. That way like I'm like Ashes Gengar eventually only or and defeated Leon Leon and that way like the first in like the so it's battle like the first three that going to Ash and not Leon like giving just scenario that I'm making of this thing I'm about to get. Okay, so like the feeling of creation right now with like Leon right now using like Ash's strategy of counter shield again like Ash as it can up to like strike as it can like the feeling of creation right now as what like how Ash would be like coming up with like this next strategy and those are like the counter shield and those are right now from like to order his like end up to like basically take it to the sky. Like those another that I'm doing. That way like I'm going to like Gengar from this point on like I'm going to escape like the counter shield that name was in the end telling Gengar to like fly and basically to basically stay always at like a high enough like a position in like the mid air. It's like the scenario that I'm showing, and from that point on, like I'm going to like Gengar launching all of it like attack from that high position off way off like the ground from like that heightened position in like the air. It's like the scenario that I'm doing. And there like I'm doing the event like while Leon would be like attempting once again attempting his like down the field like I'm doing still being hard for like Inteleon to like land it, that acquire that attack even using like the counter shield on Gengar. And at simultaneously at that point from mid air like it would be way more easier for like Gengar to dodge like the counter shield incoming attack of that Inteleon as well. It's like the scenario that I'm present. So like that aerial advantage I'm interpreting that to be through and I'm still thinking of my purpose parameter to be through how like has to be totally eventually. That coupled with like and just like familiarity with like Inteleon and all that like I'm doing like definitely like I'm definitely particular an aerial battle through which like act and just like Gengar will be Inteleon or and defeating Leon Inteleon. It's like the scenario that I'm sitting on the memory. Okay, so like the cinema brain structure right now has for like and the again the max is like Gengar like so definitely able to for instance like as showed like the gigantic gimmick for is like Gengar like able to think still my preference is especially for like Ash of last Pokemon that will be featuring that final history for Ash again like Leon would definitely be like the post new version but like I'm preferring right now my preference is that like for how Pikachu would be like defeating like Leon's like gigantic character. And the Leon will be my friends in that like in the case of Leon, who would definitely be still sticking to like gigantic since it's like Facebook and chapter like this scenario that I'm using. So like I'm going like the final showdown fight like I'm just like it would be I just stick to once again using its like extra special Z move, untouchable Z move that as if Pikachu alone have at which Ash using his battle against Steven like I'm going to like the Ashley's order is like to get to like use that very same remove and Ambassador like the only difference would be like Ambassador like it would be that ultimate final remove of like Ash's like normal size Pikachu would be that ultimate attack would be the remove electric attack would be like on top of it being exclusively undodgeable like Ambassador like it to be like 100 times or like 1,000 times more powerful than like the figure as a figure of like we know that as used in the against like the Metagross in like against like the Mega Metagross in Ashes battle against Steven. So like I'm looking it to be that ultimate final remove of like Ashes like expert special demo of like Ashes Pikachu that would be once again able to like in like Ashes battle against like the ultimately like bring down like the giant Gigantamax chapter is like of the honest like giving the scenario, final scenario that I'm going to bring. I'm going to bring right now. Also, the mention right now is for like regarding like Gigantamax Gengar is like battle against like Inteleon. Like I'm going to bring so definitely I'm going to bring from this point on I'm going to bring like Inteleon. I'm going to bring without with great difficulty like I'm going to bring Gengar defeating Inteleon from this point on. In Gengar's like Gigantamax forms like the scenario that I'm going to bring. And it could be solely through like I'm going to bring like it will be through some Gmax Shadow Ball equivalent like Gmax attack, Gigantamax level attack which I'm also probably won't be like something that like Inteleon specifically won't be able to dot. It's like the scenario that I'm doing is such a powerful attack which I'm also doing would be fanning through like the entirety from like the giant G-Max Gengar would be like that those type attack which I'm also probably would be launched from like the G-Max Gengar. Gigantic Gengar that would be like covering like the entirety of like the stadium that stage is like the scenario that I'm looking that way, like Inteleon not being able to like dodge that attack, and I'm supposed to bring with that single attack, like I'm supposed to bring that the Gigantamax Gengar like defeating Leon Inteleon, and that way once again I'm fulfilling my preparation in that way, like as getting just that first victory as being like the person to like have to reach like the first victory uh in at battle against like Leon, while Leon would be like the first to like lose a Pokemon in like Leon's battle against like Ash is like the scenario that I'm sitting on them. So like the flame of Dreams right now for like even though like Leon's like Inteleon can do it, it's like snapshot move in like a dual wielding manner. Still I'm looking right now actually like or some sort of like a GMAX level shadow ball equivalent like GMAX level attack from the GMAX Gengar, which would be like totally swallowing up like the dual wielding snapshot attack of that Inteleon, and then that DMAX level shadow ball level attack like basically like swallowing up like Inteleon and like totally overpowering and defeating Inteleon, and that with that single attack like Inteleon painting us like the scenario that I'm sitting on the famous. Also like the Cleveland preemption right now as for like Leon Inteleon's like dual wielding like dark bug attack versus like Gigantamax Gengar like die acid like tsunami like wave attack. Like I'm looking definitely that scenario to be like one of like tsunami wave like kind of like tires that attack like striking repeatedly striking Inteleon. I'm looking for like one of like the ways usually ending up striking Inteleon to like the point of like Inteleon losing focus of like one of his like among Inteleon's like dual wielding stuff first attack that Inteleon's like preparing like I'm going like Inteleon losing focus on one of the like it's like the scenario that I'm looking for. So like I'm looking right before that the tsunami like wave of like the right as its attack of like Gengar would be like totally overpowering and taking out and defeating Inteleon like right before that like Inteleon managing to like launch at least one of its like staff for attack was like the scenario that I'm making. So like I'm doing that final task from just one of like Inteleon's like fingers like really like shooting straight towards like Gengar and striking Gengar most likely at Gengar like pocket like the immediate scenario that I'm able to bring, and that was to bring like doing significant damage to like Gengar like the scenario that I'm doing, especially because of like Dark Pulse being super effective against like Gengar like I'm being a dark type move. Like I'm also bringing like definitely Gengar and looking at that point that the Gigantamax Gengar at that point taking like significant amount of like damage. Yet like I'm like Gengar not being defeated, but like Inteleon at that point would be getting defeated by like the whole tsunami of like the light as its attack of its Gigantamax Gengar attack. It's another that I'm looking, and like that way Inteleon getting defeated, and at that point itself like I'm looking next the time period for like the Gigantamax of Gengar would be over. And Gengar would be returning back to like Gengar's normal type. But like I'm thinking Gengar at that point will be like seriously standing and exhausted at that point. While in the Leon on the other side will be defeated. So like at that point I'm also thinking like Leon's only calling back. Just like at that point like Leon's only sending out this like next Pokemon, and at that point I'm also like as totally seeing how badly Gengar like exhausted like I'm thinking like as definitely deciding to like fall back to like Gengar like the scenario that I was going to like both match up with Leon, like sending out their next Pokemon at that point. But like seeing the scenario that I'm looking at that point, I'm very ambitious. Also, the level of the impression right now is that like even while right now after like two like Leon's like current Pokemon being released to be like Corbani as well as Inteleon, like I'm looking still among like the remaining four, like I'm definitely putting one of them would definitely be Eternal. It's definitely my preference, so that I'm sitting on to, and I'm like among like and that's also like technical possibility but like the now three remaining Pokemon of like Leon is what when number different like Leon will be finally deciding to like bring out and use his like gimmicks all three gimmicks of like Zemu as well as like Mega Evolution and Dynamite Gigantamax. Definitely my preference where like I'm like it would be like the among like last three Pokemon that Leon will be using like able to like the third last Pokemon. In the case of like third last Pokemon, able to bring like Leon using like the game of Zemo, and like in the case of like the second last Pokemon, able to bring like Leon probably using like the game of like Mega Evolution, and when it comes to like the last Pokemon. I'm going to bring it, which will be definitely like chapter, like Leon chapter, like I'm Leon totally finishing it off. So it's like turning chapter into this like eight gigantic chapter. It's like even scenarios that I'm going to sorry. And my consideration definitely until then like I'm considering maybe like as like until like the final three Pokemon of like Leon, I'm considering maybe of like a Pokemon as getting like kind of like the slight advantage against like Leon State. By then it's like as it's also like an it's software scenario that I'm considering. But by then like I'm considering like by the time Ash would be making it to into like taking out like three Pokemon of like Leon's like this number Pokemon thing like by then like I'm considering like Ash in Ash's case, like Ash would have by then like used up on top of like already using up Ash like gigantic gimmick through like Gengar, like I'm considering Ash would have also used up his like used up his like Mega Evolution gimmick as well. Through definitely Ash's like the career of the different Ash would have by then like used up his like Mega Evolution gimmick as well. Before Ash would be like reaching like the last three uh, Pokemon of like Ash would be finally reaching it into like facing off against like the final three Pokemon of Leon is like similar scenario that I'm looking at. From that point on, it like Ash to take some significant amount of damage and losing like seriously struggling in like that against Leon. And basically like the advantage, the slight kind of like an advantage which I'm considering like right now as for like Ash to totally be having at that point would be all easily and quickly would be like taken away by like Leon like one by one like basically using like the sending out the first one and using like the gimmick like in a consecutive manner with like the last three Pokemon like most likely of Leon like most likely uh, uh, Leon using like the free move Mega Evolution and finally like the Gigantamax gimmick. It's like similar scenario that I'm considering as of right now in my version. Okay, so like the claim of preemption right now is like Leon calling back is like defeated in Inteleon and answer right now asking this Gengar is okay. Like I'm looking like Gengar right now dancing. Like I'm looking Gengar if it only put on a fake act because like I'm looking like Gengar deep down would be extremely exhausted, but like I'm looking like it will be solely due to like that absolute now that Gengar will be having to work with like trainer and but like I'm looking Gengar would might deep down would be totally even while going through extreme exhaustion within like I'm thinking that would be most likely right now hiding it in front of his like trainer Ash to like only keep Ash's morale up and in like a boosted kind of like a state while hiding all the suffering from within Gengar. In actuality like Gengar will be extremely exhausted. It's definitely my personal impression. So like I'm looking like to keep up to maintain as confidence like Gengar right now would be only fake it in front of Ash. That would be the precise reason for like Gengar right now dancing as Gengar is okay. It's definitely a very so like I'm just thinking like the very next Pokemon that Leon will be sending out like I'm like with like with just like one or two attacks itself like I'm just like from like the next Pokemon that Leon will be sending out itself like I'm just like Gengar will be like totally straight away ending up fainting and getting defeated with like the scenario that I'm looking for again. I'm looking for like maybe at that point like as talking realizing that basically Gengar was like totally struggling within while totally like pretending to be like totally okay just to like keep at morale in like a boosted up state so that like Ash would have that better chance in like defeating Leon would be along the lines like was like would be was like along the lines Gengar was thinking it's along the lines like I'm maybe for Ash at that point have that shocking realization and I'm like at that point that maybe telling sorry to this like Gengar and I'm like calling back Gengar. The repeated Gengar at that point is like scenario that I'm and definitely I'm like Ash totally at that point deciding to like definitely not have like Gengar's like that suffering and like that absolute determination to like hide like suffering for Ash and all that like that basically or that passion of Gengar to like not go to waste and basically Ash solely focus in a focused manner like only sending out his next Pokemon at that point is like the scenario that I'm basically okay, so like the minimum preemption right now as for like after like Leon like punching out against Ash like basically Leon right now smiling and basically Sonia telling that Leon's right now ignited like right now most likely about to scenario to be like Leon right now maybe sending out Eternus right now. Just like but also like about the take that I'm able to take right now that I'm able to like definitely because like definitely that defeat against Ash would be like even though Leon might not show it like it might have been like extremely embarrassing and shocking for like Leon himself. It's definitely my big friend, so like I'm different Leon it would be currently of like that mindset to like totally destroy that confidence of Ash and basically to have to walk into like see Ash struggle and like I'm referring that totally in an extremely disadvantageous position to have Ash in an extremely disadvantageous position against Lexion. To have that happen as soon as possible and also for like it would be with this or intent collectively that like Leon would be right now smiling at Ash and Leon is right now about to send out his next Pokemon. So like I'm thinking maybe of like the possibility of like the next Pokemon Leon. that Leon will be sending out possibly being internet. So also like possibility that I'm bring and I'm bringing stuff right now. So like the flame of the ambition right now as for like Leon right now ordering this like lift up trying Pokemon to like use it like freeze try move against like Ash Gengar. Like I'm thinking that freeze try move won't be that at all intended to like actually strike Gengar. The new end of the it will be totally to have Gengar dodge the freeze try move so that like once that Gengar would be dodging and like the moment Jar would be dodging like at that point for like Leon to like make Mr. Prime launch like the actual attacks against like Gengar, which would be most likely definitely a psychic type move. Like I'm wondering maybe it would be like the strong and powerful move of like psychic itself. Like I'm wondering like the moment Gengar would be like dodging like the freeze cry move of like Mr. Prime, I'm wondering straight away like Leon calling out like the psychic move of Mr. Right. It's like the scenario which should be let's at that point I'm looking would be straight away landing on striking and landing on Gengar and I'm going straight away either straight away taking out Gengar or like I'm looking like if that single strike attack is like too protective against like Gengar. Like I'm like Gengar like on the verge of that defeat being extremely exhausted and like panting badly at that point. Like the other possibility that I'm looking. It's definitely my victory impress. So like I'm looking also definitely the frame business for like the ice type seeming like walking stick of like Mr. Rhyme Supreme would be exceptionally strong and like a defensive weapon for like Mr. Rhyme is definitely also made of frame so like after like with like Mr. Rhyme rotating around like that ice uh ice based like walking stick like I'm using that I'm like Mr. Rhyme blocking a lot of like attacks like eventually it's like looking after that I'm so like right now it's like as the bat begins itself like with like Ash ordering yeah Gengar create that is platform like Mr. Rhyme that by just rotating that walking stick alone like Mr. Rhyme with like such absolute ease like blocking like the platform attack of Gengar with like the scenario that I'm looking and my budget. Okay, so like the flavor with the episode right now as for like the moment Mr. Rhyme like freeze try landed on like Gengar, not only Gengar but Mr. Rhyme as well shivering and Ash smiling maybe precisely because of like I'm looking like due to like Gengar's ability like I'm looking like super super chance of like having like the opponents like move getting the table like that might have actually happened right now. It's definitely my brain so that would be the precise and Ash might have felt that and realized that it's definitely my brain this might have been one of like Ash's strategy as well further remember that then this might be the precise reason for like assets mind right now. Which like I'm different like Leon right now would be in like feeling that absolute pressure and would be in like a tense like situation right now that like Leon might not only fail to even realize that and this will be the precise reason for like Leon right now after his like initial calling order of like the quick try move like Leon right now once again like calling out like for like the same quick try move would be due to that extreme tension and pressure that like Leon would be right now feeling after like for great number of years for like the first time again. Like Leon would have totally like lost his like focus and might that way like might be like totally unaware of like what's going on right now and might have totally forgotten about like Gengar's ability as well. So it was definitely another thing to try to the processor for like Leon right now once again falling out for like the free strike move for with like Mr. Vine's definitely another thing to like I'm right now for like the scenario to be like Mr. Right not being able to like use like the face strike ability. And it will be only at that point that I'm going to like beyond social media realizing what has happened and that like basically Mr. Right like move has got with able to like up ability like the scenario that I'm going to so like I'm saying that point where like Mr. Right won't be able to like use since that where like Leon would be using his turn to like for like the free try move and like so I won't be able to like use it because it's most disabled like I'm looking at that point definitely I'm looking at which is mine to like totally take advantage of that situation to like basically make his Gengar Ash at that point definitely would be taking advantage of that situation and calling out like most likely I'm looking like the shadow ball move of Gengar at that point like the scenario that I'm looking which I'm looking at that point definitely the shadow ball move of like Gengar and like Gengar landing and directed uh, landing of like that shadow ball move on like Mr. Fine. Especially at that point of like the scenario that I'm looking and that causing like significant amount of damage to like Mr. Fine, especially because of like Fine being far psychic type Pokemon as well. Definitely I'm looking like the super effective shadow ball move like attack that would be at that point landing on Mr. Fine, doing significant amount of damage to Mr. Fine at that point. It's like the scenario. that I'm also only copying and my buffer ambition right now. So like I'm looking right now for like say the scenario that I'm looking right now is for like maybe for like Gengar totally like Mr. Rhyme not defeating Gengar, but like I'm looking like Gengar like maybe by the time Gengar will be painting like I'm looking like Gengar taking Mr. Rhyme as well along with it. So like I'm looking like regardless of what our strategy that Leon would be that making Mr. Rhyme use from that point on the like still for like Gengar by the time Gengar would be getting defeated by Mr. Rhyme like Gengar as well would be like before Gengar would be going out like Gengar would be like sitting out one last like some sort of like an powerful attack post type or dark type attack or like poison type attack or dark type attack on like Mr. Rhyme which will be also taking out Mr. Rhyme as well. So it's also like clinical scenario that I'm in. So like the fight between like Mr. Rhyme as well as Gengar like I'm like getting up in like across the like both of them painting simultaneously at the same time literally like clinical scenario that I'm also bring up campus. And that they like are still maintaining to like 1 point lead against like Leon even at that point of like clinical scenario that I'm also the framework. Also, I'm definitely still thinking about reimbursement as for like Dion definitely not using like any of the flag gimmicks of the flag, neither the flag Xenu nor the flag Dynamax on just like Mr. Knight and Mr. Rhyme either. It's like the scenario that I'm doing. Neither like Leon would even be getting like the chance to like switch out just like Mr. Rhyme, but like even before Leon would be like most likely planning on eventually switching out with like Mr. Rhyme, but like even before that, like I'm looking like Gengar totally within striking that hugely powerful like Shadow Ball kind of like an attack on the Turbine, which will be taking out both Gengar as well as like Turbine by both of their attacks landing on each other. So like I'm sure by the time like Leon would be planning on like switching out to like Turbine, it will be too late and Gengar will be taking out like Turbine as well as Gengar still would be changing at that point effectively the scenario that I'm bringing about Okay, so like definitely not very interested right now as for like right now with like the continued effects of like the free sprite attack like causing Gengar to end up being frozen like I'm looking right now as for like how Ash would be freeing Gengar would be freeing itself like I'm looking to be through like the below with move like I'm looking like Ash totally using that as like a strategy to like be used as like Gengar is like frozen and within like that frozen like stage like I'm looking from within like I'm looking like Ash right now ordering Gengar to like use it like below fast type movement using that like I'm looking Gengar like totally melting out and thawing on like the ice and that way Gengar freeing itself is like the scenario that I'm but like I'm looking like definitely with like Leon right now Leon like Mr. Rhyme using like the psychic terrain move like I'm looking like with like that way that Leon's Mr. Rhyme's like psychic powers like getting boosted like I'm looking definitely with like the very next psychic type move that basically Mr. Rhyme will be landing on Gengar like I'm disappointed with that next very next psychic move itself like I'm disappointed Gengar will be saying it's next the scenario that I'm disappointed. So like I'm just regardless of what move that first like Mr. Rhyme uses like I'm disappointed like the very next time that Mr. Rhyme uses like a psychic type move which on top of like the boosting through like psychic terrain is also like super effective against like Gengar as well. I'm just like the very next psychic type move that Mr. Rhyme would be using, which the Flippering would be eventually landing on like Gengar, would be definitely instantly taking out Gengar and Gengar would be waiting. But still, I'm looking like by then, like Gengar would have done more than enough damage to like Mr. Rhyme that Mr. Rhyme as well would be painted simultaneously at the same time as well. It's like the scenario that I'm doing. Or like I'm still seriously leading out towards like the moment where like right before that ultimate psychic attack of like Mr. Rhyme would be landing on Gengar like Gengar as well launching some sort of like shadow ball like attack, which would be also at the same time would be landing on Mr. Right simultaneously and both of them painting. It's like the scenario that is sitting on them on the Okay, so like the name of the 3% right now as for like Mr. Right now using it like expanding so side effect no trying to take advantage of like the process situation of gender like right now going to bring two possibilities. One possibility is definitely for like definitely the scenario that I'm speaking about is definitely for like ads to get Gengar out of like the frozen situation. Definitely ads would be only ordering Gengar to use it to like below with attack. Like the scenario that I'm looking. So like I'm looking two possibilities. Like one possibility is definitely like the possibility where like as like with like Mr. Rhyme charging in towards like Gengar with like spending force attack like right before Mr. Rhyme would be able to like make it towards like landing it like explosive spending force attack on Gengar like at that very last second I'm like the window would be like fully burning through and like throwing out the entirety of like the ice. So like I'm thinking like by the time Mr. Rhyme would be like landing in like expanding force attack on Gengar, like Mr. Rhyme as well getting caught in like the fire of like the window. That way like I'm thinking like not only Mr. Rhyme getting burnt, I'm thinking like anim logic as well. I'm thinking like there to be this anim logic kind of set of situation where like since like Mr. Rhyme is also partly ice type as well. I'm thinking like the fire like from like the below like doing like significant amount of damage as well to like to Mr. Ryan was also like a possibility that I'm basically yet like I'm swinged by the striking of like the expanding force attack. That too coupled with like the psychic terrain like I'm doing Gengar, but that single attack like Gengar like painting is like the scenario that I'm doing. Yet like it was significant enough of like damage to like Mr. Ryan on top of like burning Mr. Ryan as well. It's like inflicting Mr. Ryan with like the death condition of burn as well. So also like the one possibility that happens. And the second possibility that happens is something is for like Mr. Ryan. By the time that Mr. Ryan would be about to land, it's like planning for the attack on like the Fortune Gengar. Like at that very last second, like by that very last second, I'm looking like Gengar through its like below its like throwing out like the entirety of like the ice and dodging like the expanding force attack. It's like the other possibility that I'm looking only for another and at that point, I was like Gengar, not only just like dodging, but like Gengar dodging by like flying a bit up into like the air, and from there itself, like the moment Gengar would be dodging, and Mr. Rhyme would be totally, it would be like a much unexpected situation for like both Leon as well as Mr. Rhyme. So like while both of them would be confused, like at that point, itself, like straight away quickly ordering Gengar to like use its like Shadow Ball attack on like Mr. Rhyme, and that Shadow Ball attack, like I'm looking like Gengar causing that significant shadow ball attack like end up causing that significant extent of like damage to Leon like Mr. Right. There's like the other possible scenario that I wasn't bringing on the image. Okay, so like the two reaction right now is for like Mr. Ryan defeating Acid Gengar like the name of the reaction right now is certainly for like Leon and with like Mr. Ryan like I'm like Leon would be totally fixed his mind right now to that definitely not don't change to fight with this like Mr. Ryan until like the very end until like all the way until like Mr. Ryan fails definitely by the grades. That would be of like the current mindset of like Leon's definitely by the grades. I'm definitely Leon's like not switch off his like Mr. Rhyme in like the current situation. It's definitely a situation like the stage itself, like due to like the freeze strike attack of like Mr. Rhyme fully being frozen. With like the stage itself being frozen, with like Mr. Rhyme being ice type. That way an advantage like Mr. Rhyme having such an advantage. And on top of that, like Mr. Rhyme like having this like having used like the psychic terrain move, like basically that coupled with like the expanding force psychic type move the fact that Mr. Ryan already with like Mr. Ryan already having used expanding force for one like that way like the expanding force more power increasing like the more it used I think like this with that coupled with like the side terrain coupled with like the ice type the battlefield turned into like fully ice like basically collectively with like all factors being thoroughly so much extremely advantageous to like Mr. Ryan. Definitely I'm preferring like the last thing Leon uh ha- would be thinking would be definitely to like the out of like Mr. Ryan. So like definitely I'm preferring like in the Ryan case like even after like the defeat of Gengar like I'm putting like regardless of how many Pokemon sends out from point like I'm preferring like Leon won't be like fitting out of like Mr. Ryan at all with like the scenarios that I'm preferring. So like definitely and I'm preferring like the very next Pokemon that I'm preferring for as for like which Pokemon I should be sending out next after Gengar. Like I'm preferring it would be most likely Draco like the scenario that I'm in. So definitely that I'm preferring like Draco is like the psychic type as well as like psychic type moves as well as like the ice type moves of like Mr. Ryan not affecting like not being able to like affect like the dragon as well as like the water type Dracos like so like I'm definitely even in such an advantageous situation for like Mr. Ryan preferring Draco is still thriving and surviving like the scenario that I'm preferring and I'm definitely preferring like Draco is most likely I'm preferring like the scenario to be like either Draco is like taking out Mr. Ryan that's like the least likely possibility that I'm preferring but like still it would be either that or like I'm preferring like scenario to be like both Draco uh, Ratos like before its face lacking. like pushing through and basically ensuring to like take out Mr. Rhyme as well. It's like the scenario that I'm looking for. So this is like the more likely scenario that I'm looking for. So like either this or like I'm looking for like Draco's defeating Mr. Rhymes, like the scenario that I'm looking for. Definitely I'm looking for like Mr. Rhyme. Definitely I'm looking for like the scenario to definitely not be a scenario where like Mr. Rhyme would be defeating Draco's and Mr. Rhyme would be like still standing. Like that definitely is not the scenario that I'm looking for right now. And I'm definitely protecting Trackers to be like an exceptionally quick learner. And I'm the like even though the moment I'm the like actually be selling out with like Trackers, like I'm the Trackers would be like instantly struggling to like stand straight in like the IT battlefield, like I'm the like definitely I'm the like Trackers being that absolute quick learner and Trackers quickly figuring out to be able to like move with that absolute speed and precision through the IC and that way being able to take still take advantage of that IC battlefield. And that way that totally even outsmarting stuff like and being such an absolute threat for like the stuff like eventually is like the scenario that I'm looking at. Certainly I'm looking for strikers that absolute persistence and that absolute passion and determination to win. Definitely I'm looking for would be shown that I'm looking for regardless of that how much that Mr. Mind turns like the battlefield and everything like the terrain and everything into like an even more extremely advantageous situation for like while still I'm still thinking about the premise that Fragos still would be pulling through and that absolute determination won't be going down without taking out much right reflective into the scenario that I'm looking for the